Hello, my name is James Bowden, and I just wanted to bring this update in the form of a video and to do so as quickly as possible. So, this is kind of a Near East Observer's Evening Observer and a bit of a NEO hot take. So, we just learned a couple of minutes ago that the body of yet another hostage has been found in southern Gaza, in Rafah, perhaps. Ron Benjamin is the person that has been located, and their body is being returned to Israel at this time. Now, Benny Gantz also announced that he would take his party with him by June 8th if Israel had not reached a decision on the day after, and what that will look like. So I guess it seems pretty obvious at this point, with the bodies of three other hostages being found, that what Hamas is doing is making Israel pay for every advance and every hard strike on Rafah that they are committing. Um, and it's going to put Benjamin Netanyahu in an extremely uncomfortable position because he's going to have to either continue the Rafah operation and find a lot more dead bodies and a lot more dead hostages, which is going to prevent him from accomplishing the war aim that it was set out at the beginning of the war, and that is to bring all of the hostages back or to recover them. Uh, so it's going to put him in a serious bind. Which war aim is going to be more costly and more important for him? Is it going to be getting the hostages back, or is it going to be finishing off Hamas? Now, from my vantage point, from what it looks like, it's definitely that he has prioritized Rafah and finishing off Hamas and getting the last battalions. And that is certainly a legitimate war aim. We're here just to offer some assessments on things and not to take sides, not even and not especially not interfere in the political process, but just to say and explicate that this will definitely cost Netanyahu in the long run. Pursuing Hamas and pursuing them to the last and giving the last full measure for the destruction of Hamas is certainly a legitimate goal. However, it is definitely going to doom Benjamin Netanyahu in the polls and is going to significantly jeopardize his political position. And obviously, he is between a rock and a hard place. He has to placate the hard right lawmakers who definitely want him to go in and finish off Rafah and Hamas. However, he also has the very realistic issue to confront, and that is that many people in Israel did not want it to come down to an either or proposition. There was the opportunity to have a ceasefire, there was the opportunity to have a hostage release and a deal made. And then, and even that would, take a 40-day process and have a 40-day delay, and then go into Rafah at that time. Understanding that there is the exigency that during that time Hamas could attempt to evacuate their fighters and or rearm and come back stronger. And so essentially Netanyahu has been forced into a no-win scenario. It's kind of a Kobayashi Maru. He has to choose among a menu of bad things, and the question is, how bad is it going to be? Which is the worst option? And again, certainly he has made the assessment that not going after Hamas and risking losing the opportunity here, or risking the chance that he is going to face a re-strengthened and rearmed Hamas, is definitely the least acceptable of the bad options. So we're definitely keeping a very strong eye on events. And I sincerely believe, I mean, This is, for me, this is an absolute and a must. There will be a political earthquake in Israel. The question is not if, it is only a question of when and what the results will be. We had already seen in the last few years a record number of elections because the political process has been so polarized. I mean, if you're an American and you believe that the American electorate is uh, polarized, it is probably even more so in Israel, and is even worse because rather than having a very diffuse and a very large population, such as in the United States, where you have still a lot of distance and a lot of ameliorating factors, you have the ability to spread out. You have the ability to go to your separate states. You have the ability to go to your separate places. There's a lot of freedom of movement. But in Israel, with it being such a smaller geographically confined country and space, and with people and neighborhoods that are already sharply divided, uh, this is continuing to push and ratchet up those tensions. So take it as like if you're in a bad relationship and you're in a bad place where you're constantly living with that person that's bringing you stress and frustration, at some point that stress is going to give way. And we're definitely seeing that. And we saw that almost take place in 2023, where I'm absolutely convinced that Israel was headed for a civil war at that time because of the judicial review or reforms that were going on. And folks, I don't think that we're outside of that possibility. I think that once this war is over, there is going to be quite a seismic, systemic change inside of Israel. And that is going to go on for a year or two. I don't think that we are going to see, and I don't think it's going to be resolved simply with Netanyahu saying goodbye, because even when he is gone, there are still going to be those parties that represent him, and those parties are going to be having to carry the weight and the burden of the decisions that they made in this war, particularly on the very sensitive issue of the hostages. And so we still need to be very concerned and putting Israel on the warning list of states that might actually crumble. The next war in Israel may be a shooting war between each other and these separate forces. And again, you may say that's going a little bit extreme, but folks, I have been doing this. I have been doing this work. I have been studying this region since I can remember. And in a professional capacity, I started my work in 2010, and I have been keeping a very keen weather eye on Israel. Again, if if I was keeping a close eye on it before, I have been keeping an even closer eye on it now, and I am very certain that we are looking at a significant crisis. Each one of these hostages that is found dead and not alive is going to add significantly more pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to pull the troops out of Rafah, to suspend the operation and accept a peace deal largely at any cost and at any price, well, any cost, any price. Uh, but the question is, will he accept that? And I really don't think that he will. And so this is also why I think that we're not going to be able to see a very good outcome for the post Gaza war situation, because I believe that Israel is going to be locked in its own political turmoil and crisis for at least a year, maybe 2 years down the road, trying to figure itself out. Netanyahu is also working and dealing with the Haredi conscription law, and with the implications of conscripting people who are right now not fighting and not participating in this war. So there are a lot of different factors going on right now, and I'm going to be wrapping up this video. But again, very significant development that Ron Benjamin, a hostage, was found dead in Gaza. Perhaps, and the location specifics were not offered, but likely somewhere near Rafah. He is now the fourth hostage to be recovered dead, and likely there will be more, probably 3 to 4 more. And we might be finding these one at a time, one per day, or maybe in larger groups. And the question is, what is the pressure on Netanyahu going to do? Thank you.